So you might have noticed there is a brand new fusion up right now. It's going to be lasting a little over 2 weeks. It's a limited event for Lysanthir Beastbane. So this is where we're going to be getting a lot of the Yuzan, the Marooned from tournaments and stuff this week. If you guys noticed, there are the shards and everything for this hero all over the place. I think even in the spider tournament there's some, and then there's also some in the events right now. So you'll see there is the champion training event right here. Some of those rewards are going to include, again, some more of those fragments right there if you want to go for this. But the question is it worth using all your saved up energy and stuff and really getting this hero? Well, it depends on where you want to go. Honestly, overall, if I had to give a grade to the hero in the typical tier list of like S, A, B, C, I feel like it would be on the borderline, somewhere between A and B tier. Her overall is decent. She's not the best. Wait, I just realized something. I don't know why I always thought it was a she this whole time. It's a he. But yeah, not the best against clan boss, pretty decent against someone like Hydra. Everywhere else, like, you know, dungeons, hard modes, arena, all these places, pretty middle of the road, nothing special. You might actually have better chances and progress with some rare and epic heroes, which is why I said just because a hero is legendary doesn't mean they are the end all be all hero you want to go for. Hold up, click the link down in the description right now to get your free annex as well as one epic hero as you level up. All you have to do is log out of your Plarium Play on PC and uninstall. Click the link down in the description and register with a brand new email. Launch raid, complete the tutorial, and go to your inbox to claim your first champion. Here we go. You'll find annex right here as well as Mausoleum Mage as soon as you hit level 15. This is an amazing account start in raid, so make sure you guys click the link and follow the steps. So this is a legendary defense hero, high elves faction. So if you need a high elf, that might be something that helps out. He does look cool, I will admit that. He has a faction aura or a team aura as a leader, increasing allies defense in battles, which isn't used as often as some of the other ones. But let's talk about their skills because he has a very unique skill set. So number one, Echo Bolt attacks one enemy 2 times. The first time has a 75% chance to place a hex debuff on the target for 2 turns, and then places a 30% increased crit damage buff on this champion. Now he is a defense champion, so his damage is based on his defense. The one thing I want to talk about is the hex. So a lot of people might not understand hex if you are newer to this game. It's not like a crowd control like you normally see. If you actually scroll down in the list, it's a little bit further down. It's a really interesting effect. So champions under hex debuffs take damage whenever their allies do. So you apply a hex to, say, the far left target. Whenever any of the other 4 targets take damage, they'll take a percentage of that. If there is AoE damage going out, they'll take an additional 2% of that damage. And then also if single target damage is dealt, they take 10% of it. Champions under hex debuffs only take extra damage from direct attacks on their allies, not lasting effects like burns and all these other types of things. So right there, that's a pretty good effect if you're trying to even put it like, I think you can put it on the box too. And as you're dealing damage to the other subordinates, it's still doing damage to them. Not bad, not anything crazy. What I think is really cool and the way you can combo off with this champion is Willy Hunter level 1. That just doesn't even sound right. But this attacks one enemy 2 times, has a 20% chance to then repeat that attack. Now, that alone just sounds like mediocre. It's like, okay, yeah, you might be able to like chain off and do additional attacks. That's kind of cool. Hold on. The second part is the important part here. When this champion counterattacks or teams up with allies to join an attack, they'll use the skill instead of the default. So normally the default skill is what you use when you do party attacks, and you might have a few of those heroes on your team. You'll use this skill instead of the default skill. The damage inflicted with this skill increases by 10% each time an ally is devoured, stacks up to 50%. Kind of cool. There's some heroes that you get in the very early game that do provide party attacks, and this can again use this where you attack an enemy 2 times and it might proc again and again. You know, you might have this happening constantly, so it can have additive damage. Is it enough to build an entire team around? I'm not really sure about that. There is runed snares here, level 1 version, attacks all enemies 2 times. So again, it's a multi-layer hit. This can be against the fire golem and stuff, so at bosses that need multiple hit stun stun. This whole kit does that, so I will say if that's one of the game modes you've been struggling in, this could be a good hero to break through a lot of those layers. Then each hit has a 75% chance of placing a 30% decreased speed debuff and a 25% weaken buff for 2 turns. Now again, if you guys don't know what weaken is, it's pretty close to the top up here. It basically increases the damage they receive by the target champion by 15 or 25%. Not too bad, it's decent. And then if the target's under a hex debuff from somewhere, places these debuffs before you attack. Pretty decent, not bad. And again, there's certain places it'll be good. Now when you do get it to ascended 3-star, Survival Supreme activates, will ignore life barrier and ally protection buffs, which is pretty solid, and it increases this champion's defense by 5% for each active buff on this champion, stacking up to 50%, so you can do it 10 times. Not bad, not bad. Is this a hero I say you absolutely need? I would say probably not. There are some uses for this hero in specific game modes, and there are some ways to get it, but you really have to come down to, are the events that are going on right now worth spending your resources on to try to cap out? Now, like I showed you kind of in the beginning, the champion training event is here. If you are planning on developing some heroes, that might not be the worst thing in the world. Upgrading their levels is a great way of doing it. Upgrading their ranks gives you huge amounts of points. You have to get to 5,600, which is a lot. It's quite a bit of investment, and if you are on the reeling on the backside of anniversary and everything, this definitely might not be something to go for. We'll have more events, of course. The other one that is currently active is in tournaments, and it's the spider tournament. You can't tell just because you see him right there. Getting to 1650 on this one's not too bad. Essentially, you're basically just farming accessories. The better the accessories you get, the better the multipliers. Spider can be a really tough boss if you don't have the right team for it, though. You need a lot of AoE damage dealers to really start putting a hurt on the boss, putting dots on them and everything. You see right here, I mean, it's the first day this has been active. It's not like it's been active very long. Not many people go for this one because I would say Spider is one of the more difficult bosses out there. One thing I do want to note though is in dungeons, the one boss I was talking about, Fire Knight's castle, that's what it is, Fire Knight. This is the boss that can be pretty tricky right here just because of the way his abilities works. He has this divine shield that reduces the damage. You need to like break through the number of layers before you can do 100% damage to this target. So you typically want to have some of your weaker multi-hit heroes doing some work. And then of course, when you're pairing it with heroes like Morga that you might have, Morga has an ability that teams up with 2 random allies. Whether it hits this hero or not, that's kind of random. You can't really decide how that's going to work, but pairing it with heroes with this can really eat away at those layers of shield, because like I said, this is one of the bosses that can be tricky depending on the heroes you get in the early game. And if you don't have enough heroes with multi hits to get through the shield, the boss is just going to keep healing up and then you're never going to catch up. So let me know what you guys think about this hero. Do you think it's worth going for? I think a lot of people are going to be hurting on save resources just because the 6th anniversary was just really good. There's a lot of great events to go for. A lot of people were chasing and upgrading heroes. Of course, later in the game, it's a lot easier to do these fusions because you have a lot more resources. You're much further in the game, so you're getting better artifacts, accessories to get those points and everything. And it really just comes down to where you are in the game. So let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment down below, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys next time.